Well guys, I know it's been a while since I actually did another evening vlog, but today I decided to go ahead and record another one for you guys for the tech channel, not my personal channel. But today I want to talk about, I'm going to continue the topic of what I'm looking forward to in 2016 in terms of innovation, because a lot of people have been asking me, especially during my live streams, about what am I like, you know, what are my thoughts on the rumors about the Samsung Galaxy S7, the iPhone 7, and you know, what am I looking for, or what is my ideal phone and stuff. And people keep asking me those questions, so I decided to answer them here. And in terms of innovation, I look at innovation, and for those of you who've been following me will know, you know, it's not a very distinct answer, but you know, just hear me out here. What I look for in terms of innovation in technology and a piece of tech, and here are my criteria for some of them. Is it pushing the market forward? Is it pushing technology forward? Is it pushing the segment forward? Is it challenging the current paradigms, the current norms, and changing your way of looking at certain devices and technology? Is it a significant improvement from the year before, not an incremental? Is it revolutionizing it? And on top of that, especially if it's an upgrade of a technology. So let's take example, the stylus pens and now the interactive pencils. Are they a significant increase in change from, let's say, last year or other companies' renditions of it? Are they truly being innovative, or are they just adding enhancements? You know, and that's what I consider changing the marketplace. So in terms of phones, the staple that I use is obviously the iPhone, and a lot of people do. The iPhone was not a new piece of technology. Let's kind of bring this together. Oh, you're crazy. Of course it is. It didn't create anything new. It brought together, it pretty much was the Voltron of technology. The pieces individually were useful pieces. The cell phone, GPS, the iPod for music, storage, internet browsing. There was the tablet, the Palm Pilots, if you guys remember those. That's going way back. But you know, Palm Pilots were a big thing for corporate users and stuff. There were mini computers on the go in the hand with touchscreens and everything, and a bunch of other things, notification beepers, text messaging, all this stuff. Steve Jobs just brought it, you know, he made a device that brought it all in one. And keep in mind that the market was actually headed in that direction anyway, because phones were getting thinner and thinner. Touchscreens were starting to be introduced into the market, because I remember me having a Razr Edge, a Samsung slide-up phone, and eventually I had a Samsung touchscreen phone and everything. So it had, web capabilities and, taking pictures and all that stuff. But phones were going into that direction, but Apple took a huge leap forward and challenged the market. It really changed the way we looked at mobile devices up to that point in time. Because until that time, it was just call and text and maybe pictures, and be able to send picture messages to one another, but very low res. But the cell phones back then were definitely not on the same terms as cell phones today. Back then we were still heavily relied on phones, on the computer and the internet on the desktops for our main source of information. But slowly it's changed to now, like, people mainly use their phones for their source of information, news, and etc., and as well as means of communications. So even instant messaging and email have become funneled into the cell phone these days. And the iPhone really changed the marketplace. It changed people's behaviors. It was a paradigm shifting piece of technology. It brought everything together. It aggregated it. So what's the next step? And up till now, I consider everything that's come out, the wraparound displays, the edge displays, the smartwatches, increased performance. It's mainly been if you really look back to the first iPhone to almost 6 years ago, it's mainly been an increase in performance. Oh, let me turn off this light here. I have a police officer was there. I think he's okay. I'm driving at night, folks, with the light on, so it's not really favorable. But if you look at the phones from back then till now, it's all been incremental increases. And so in my mind, it's all been performance increases, so nothing significant has come out in these last few years. But the thing is, if you look at phones now compared to 6 years ago, they're built better, screens are tougher, not quite indestructible quite yet. Performance, they're capable of doing a lot more cloud performing. They're able to handle virtual reality. They have become much more versatile. But have they become truly the next gen innovation? No. Because in my mind, what I would consider the most, the next generation of innovative cell phones, I can't even describe it to you because it hasn't happened yet. No one's made it. So I can't sit here and tell you what it will be. I can only speculate what it will be. And in my mind, it's going to be a device that won't require, it's going to aggregate once again, in my mind, the next generation phone needs to aggregate more devices into one. So it needs to bring in smart cards. It needs to bring in your computer at home, your laptop, your television, your home appliances, your security, etc., etc. It needs to bring in more into the device. People have been trying to smart device connectivity. So people have been like, all right, well, we can connect our cell phones now to our security cameras at home, our registers, our cars, etc., etc. But bring that all together into one device again. Connecting it, making it the hub is one thing, or making it your sole device to use. And I mentioned this on my podcast, so what am I saying? It's like, all right, well, you can have this, imagine this pencil, but it's not really a pencil, but imagine this, this size device, you put it into your pocket, and for those who wear glasses, it becomes the display. Now you have augmented reality, and all your information, your internet, your communications coming through your glasses. And then the next thing is you go home, you go into, you sit down, you go in and put this thing into like a central hub in your house, and all of a sudden, transparent the screens, let's say glass panes in your house. Oh, sorry, I'm going through a bump here. They turn on, so your TV comes on, your stuff in your kitchen turns on and everything. Your house becomes activated because it is running through a central hub of your device. It's going with you. Go to your workplace. As soon as you get to work, you take it off. Let's say you're in the middle of a conversation. You go to your office, you transition from your, walking and talking, and you sit down in your office, you put your glasses down, or you take your device out of your pocket, you put it into place, and all of a sudden it transitions into the office space, but you're still continuing your conversation, but everything else appears that you need. Or it communicates with other devices too. My thing is just the portability. I mean, it's not really that. It's really hard to describe. It's in my brain. Because you see enough sci-fi movies, you see enough future concept videos of, I really encourage you guys. I'll leave a link to the video. It's a video called A Day of Glass, a day of Glass made by Corning, the guys who make the glasses for the phones. I see the next innovation being something along those lines. Really seamlessly integrating a lot of the old school technology into coming into the digital age. There's that. I know it's very vague, it's very hard to describe, but there's nothing I'm looking forward to in these phones. There really isn't. I can only keep demanding more and more enhancements to the performances and capabilities of these of the smartphones, because for me, it's already starting. I can see that happening. So the concept I just described has started happening for me. It's a multi-use device. So no longer is it just a smartphone. It's also become the next step in entertainment for me, because especially for me with the Note 4 and the recent Note devices and the Samsung Gear VR using the Oculus Rift technology. The fact that now I can just using a peripheral, plug my phone in, and now I'm in a new world. I can game in virtual reality. I can pop in and be a part of a Broadway show. I can go ahead and watch movies at a movie theater. And the thing is, let's say the technology keeps increasing exponentially. few years down the line, me and a couple friends, so my friend who's in Florida and I also have another friend who lives in South Korea, we can all plug into the Matrix per se and go on an adventure together and feel like we're right there next to each other. And then by then you're going to see these hand peripherals come out, walking peripherals. All these things are just going to enhance it even more. But in order to do that, without a need of a computer, these phones need to progress a lot further to be able to handle all of that. And I feel like we are headed in that direction. Like we're going the right direction in technology, in my opinion, and I'm really excited for all of that. But in terms of, I'm going to shift subjects here, what I'm looking forward to in terms of the phones, I really hope that they really push not only the design, because I actually personally like the S6 Edge design that they did with the phones this year. I like the S6 Edge. Even the Note 5 I thought was really nice, but I was really hoping for more of a wraparound display screen or more flexible screens. Even a phone that can physically, bend. So screw Bendgate. Like, they have flexible screens now. LG showed it off this past CES show. Samsung showed off their screen a couple years back. So I don't see why we can't have bendable phones at this point. Not like you can wiggle around like this, but I'm saying, like, if you were to drop it, it can bend enough or absorb enough where the screen can't crack, because it just moves. Like, it's the same concept as, like, like buildings in Japan, because they suffer frequent earthquakes. They just they move around to absorb the shocks, and they just move with it, so there's no damage to the buildings or anything like that. So it's kind of a similar concept, I guess. But that's what I would like to see, but it's not going to happen, in my opinion. But I would like to see, because Sony did it already, but a 4K resolution performance, so 4 to 8 gigs of RAM, higher capable processing power, because right now for the virtual reality stuff, the phone is being used to its maximum capabilities. So the phones and the devices overheat because they're running at like max power the entire time, so it can't run like normally and cool, because it's like using everything it possibly can to run these programs. But if we can get to the point where it can run them seamlessly, then the phone can run, hours upon hours, in VR without need to be cooled down or anything like that. So it makes the experience even better. So where's that? But the thing is, it doesn't have to stop at virtual reality. And like I said earlier, it could turn into your, one-all be-all device. I know Motorola already experimented with the whole, like, it was, if you guys remember, it was for the Droid X. It was a screen and keyboard attachment for the Droid X. So when you were at the airport, you plug this thing into the keyboard and you have a full screen and a keyboard to use. So I don't know, and especially for you gamers out there, these phones might become to the point where it can start running some of the, lower demanding games pretty well on just a cell phone. So we'll just have to wait and see. But like, I'm looking forward to that. Another thing I really hope they do this year is, I know they're pushing towards the whole cloud, save it on the cloud, running it off the cloud, etc., etc. 4G technology is slowly starting to become more available to, all parts of the country, blah, blah, blah. I want them to bring back the removable storage. Apple never had it, but Samsung and most of the Android devices do and did. And I was really upset when they removed them, so was a lot of other people. And the thing is, like, cloud and streaming is fine and dandy, but we're not at the point where you're getting FiOS, broadband speeds affordably for everyone, 24/7 unlimited. We're not there yet. And the perfect example is all the people that are complaining about the Gear VR right now, the new one. Because they're like, well, all the videos that I watch on the Gear VR are standard definition, blurry as hell, and it's not a real experience, it's not HD, blah, 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 and it sucks, and they just brush it off. But for those people like me who got the original Note 4 version, the prototype model, They were crisp videos. They were all HD quality, and they looked phenomenal, and the experience was awesome. And it's still the version that I use to this day to show off people. And I'm probably gonna make another video of the same topic again later on, but I'm just, because a lot of people don't watch my videos to this point. Let's just be honest here. My videos tend to be a little long, so I'll probably make another video that's a little bit quicker addressing this issue again. But the reason why the quality has shifted is because, unlike the current phones right now that don't have expandable memory, the Note 4 had a slot that I could put a 128 gigabyte micro SD card into it. I can hold HD videos. So the phone, and the original Innovator Edition came with a 16 gigabyte SD card that had preloaded games, demos, and 360 videos. The HD version of the videos, and they were quite big. They were like at least a gig or two in size. And the thing is, you have it in the unit, so when the program needs to run that 360 video, it's drawing upon the HD file that you have in the system. So it doesn't need a broadband connection. So the speed is really quick, and the amount of data that it can render. So it looked really clear and awesome. But the new version that I found out was it doesn't come with an SD card because there's no SD card slot. So they can't give you the preloaded. They can't give you the preloaded stuff. So what did they have to resort to? They had to resort to streaming. And for those of you who know, streaming is very taxing. For those of you who think you get like, but I get the 1080p quality when I stream to my phone, when I watch YouTube, that's all hunky-dory and everything. But the thing is, YouTube, the app itself to watch a YouTube video, the program itself doesn't require as much power as, viewing the Oculus Rift Cinema, the Oculus 360 video does. The 360 videos take a lot more computing power than a YouTube video would. And so they're left to having to stream these 1 gigabyte, 2 gigabyte files as fast as possible through these broadband connections so you can enjoy it in 360 space. The one thing I'll give these videos is, yes, they end up coming in blurry standard definition because they're left to having to stream these videos, and they're up to the mercy of your internet connection. And the thing is, these phones, even on Wi-Fi, they're not getting 20 megabit, 100 megabit connections like you would on a computer. They're getting, especially on a 4G connection, you're lucky to get 4 or 5 on some connections, not all. I'm not saying all, but on average, I'm just saying. And so you're stuck with that. But thankfully, they're pretty seamless. I mean, they move around into space just fine. It's just the quality of the video. So that's one question and comment that I've been seeing so often. It's been pissing me off, and I just want to address that here. And I will address it again, because once again, no one really watches to this part of the video. So I'm gonna have to make another quick clip on why the Samsung Gear VR doesn't suck, and here are the reasons why. But the thing is, a lot of people, if you realize, and I should share the files because I still have them. If you just if you copy the HD files, the original files, onto your local hard drive onto your phone, you can watch the same HD videos I did on my I did in the Innovator Edition for the Note 4, and problem solved. I mean, so there's that, guys. And it's the same thing with movies. Like, you have the digital version of a movie that's in HD. It's going to be HD on the Oculus Rift 2, on the Gear VR, I mean. So there's that. There's been a lot of questions on that, guys. But one last thing I wanted to talk about, because there's a lot of other pieces of tech that I would like to discuss that future vlogs I can go in and talk about. But one last thing before I get home is it's going to be the smartwatches. So people have been asking me about what I'm looking forward towards in the next smartwatch, because I don't have a smartwatch anymore. I don't. Here you go. I don't have anything, and I've suffered greatly. I'm actually going to make another video on that later on, but it's I became so dependent on the smartwatches that now that I don't have it anymore, I've become far worse in my communication. My wife tells me all the time, I don't pick up half her calls, or more than half her calls, or I don't respond to her messages as fast as I used to. She's actually been quite mad at me about that lately, and I've been doing my best to try to see what I can do to fix it. But the only solution is to get a smartwatch again, because even though I have my phone on full vibrate and sound notifications, I still miss them. My response rate has gone a little bit better, but still pretty bad. It's because I've changed my behavior to be dependent on the smartwatch for my notifications. Because the wrist is a lot more sensitive than I think my thigh is, and so every buzz that I got on my wrist, I just got accustomed to reacting to it, and so I went from seeing all my notifications every day to seeing less than a quarter, not even. Like, I miss so many emails and text messages because I don't have it anymore. But so what I would like to see, so hopefully by the time the next generation watches come out, I'll have money again to buy these things. But what I want to see coming out in general, that's including Apple and even Samsung, I want to see a push in design. I don't want to see conformity, because I said this about all the round displays, and I still say it now. I'm not a fan of them, because you're going with a classic design because you want people to make the transition seamless, and it shouldn't be. It should be a new interaction. Because the circle displays limit your viewing, limit the functionality of what you can do with the watch. You can argue with me about that, but it sort of does, especially in the text messaging world. Like, I went from especially when I went from the Gear S to the Gear S2, I went from being able to read all my messages in one screen to having to scroll down. So you increased my interaction, and you increased you decreased the quickness I could, read that notification. But what I want to see this year is improved performance. So that should come naturally. But overall, I want to see a better use of the peripheral, of the device. Because the Gear S2 omitted some functionalities that the Gear S1 had, that the regular Gear S had. So I want to see them bring it back. Bring back another design that I want to see, a true wraparound design. So nothing that goes all the way around your wrist, but a design that screams tech. Maybe it comes in a form of a bracer or something else, but the round displays don't work for me. I actually wanted to see them push the Gear S1's design a little bit further. I thought that's what they were going to do to differentiate themselves through the other manufacturers, but Samsung decided to digress. So I'm a little disappointed in them on that, but hopefully they bounce back this year. A lot of people are looking for a camera. I don't really see a need for a camera on the Gear S, because, let's be honest here, guys, it's kind of pointless because you make it really obvious when you're like, hey, I'm gonna take a quick picture. And the thing is, yes, cameras have gotten better, but I'd rather them use that camera space for an extra battery pack or a micro SD slot or something like that. Because what I liked about the Gear S1 is because I could store music into the actual watch, and without the need of my phone, put on Bluetooth headsets and go about my daily business. Even I like the idea of, I don't think anyone's going to release it anytime soon, but having a true wraparound watch, but it being the entire screen. And what I mean by that is you clip it on, you lock it in and everything, but let's say you need to use the phone or text someone. You go ahead and just remove it, and with a simple slide or unlock, you remove it and it clicks into a full screen. And then you can use it as a normal touch device. And the thing is, guys, you think that would, interrupt the screen or anything, but Samsung, during the CES show, released a modular screen. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, imagine two screen blocks, squares, distinct, different display screens and stuff that you can simply combine them like a Lego brick, and you don't see the line seamless integration of 2 screens into one bigger one. So they can do something like that, or they can use the whole flexible screen thing and just have a wraparound display, and it can detect that when they're clamped together, it knows that it's in watch mode, so it will limit the display just to the middle, and when it opens, it goes to full screen mode. I don't know, something like that. There was a cool tech video out of a bracelet displaying the screen onto your wrist, and you can just interact with the screen using, just touching your skin, and the device will know. I definitely know that the first rendition of the device might not work properly, but if Samsung released that, I wouldn't give him crap about it not working properly, because hell, they took another big risk and decided to release it first before anyone. Or someone else can release it. It doesn't have to be Samsung. I'm not a Samsung fanatic. I would love to see an indie company finally pushing out and fulfilling their promise to make these devices. So there's that, guys. I mean, there's so many more things coming out this year that I just want to see them. I really want to see this year being not the year, but 2015 was very disappointing for me, and I really hope that 2016 ends up being a very innovative year, that we saw a true leap from the previous year. And I know you can always say, well, look back in the last few years and technology has come a long way. And that's very true, and that needs to be the norm. That needs to happen. But it's nice to see a nice springboard off of 1 year, because then the next following year could be even greater. So it lets me know that it's going the right direction. And, this is just the old guy, or, the potential old guy talking to me in the future, but I want to see some of the future stuff that I've been dreaming and hoping sooner than later. I don't want to be 50 enjoying the technology that I wish I had when I was 30, I kind of want to see some of that's coming out now, and I want to enjoy some of it now, I'm impatient. Let's just put it that way. But, guys, I'm home, it's late, it's 3:30 in the morning, I need to get some sleep, so if you guys have any comments, feedback, you want to, rebuttal an argument with me, or just anything you want to say in general, go ahead and leave it in the comment section down below. And whether you're a troller or a loyal subscriber or a random person coming by that agrees or disagrees with my view, if you liked what I had to talk about here, if you liked this style of vlogging your video, I encourage you to please leave a thumbs up to let me know you liked it, or go ahead and leave a thumbs down. I don't mind. I don't really care if you leave a thumbs down. But if you watched this part of the video and you liked what I said, and if you aren't a subscriber already, I really do encourage you to please hit that subscribe button, because it does let me know that that you enjoy these type of videos and you would like to see more of these discussions happen. And as well as I encourage you to check out my other videos that I've done. Especially, I've definitely changed my video style from last year, but I'm really trying to transform this channel into a proper tech discussion channel, on a middle ground level, at a normal guy level, layman's terms and everything. Be able to have a high level discussion without any bias or corporate sponsors or anything like that. So if you guys enjoy this type of videos, please, I do encourage you guys to subscribe to this video. But as always, guys, please, whatever time of day it is in the part of the world that you are watching this video, please have a good day, good morning, and good evening. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next car vlog. Take care. Bye-bye, guys.
We're sending Noah out on a mission to get us milk. We're sending him on a supply run. Day 3 of milk, spaghetti. Godspeed, Noah. Godspeed. And there he goes. Oh my God, look how deep that snow is. Will he make it? We don't know.